guys, in this tutorial we are going to be taking a deeper look at some of the key vocabulary that we associate with virtual collaboration and remote teams. So I would say all the way through this course I've been saying that accurate and precise expressions are very important. And I would say when it comes to remote work, that becomes more true than ever. I would say that communication can break down more easily in remote teams because there is not necessarily the real-time reaction, feedback and corrections that might take place in a face-to-face conversation as with an online team communicating primarily in writing, let's say. So remote work introduces unique communication challenges that require new vocabulary versus vocabulary you'd use if you all worked in the same office. Managers must precisely describe work processes such as asynchronous updates and shared accountability. Clear shared vocabulary minimizes misunderstandings between team members. Using specific terms signals how and when communication should happen, improving workflow. For example, a phrase like "let's collaborate asynchronously" sets expectations for timing and method of communication. So key term number one is virtual collaboration. That means working together through digital platforms instead of in person, enabling teams to collaborate remotely. Common collocations are virtual team meetings, collaborative workspaces, and virtual collaboration tools. For example, strong virtual collaboration depends on clear communication and shared goals. Professional tip would be to use virtual collaboration instead of work online. It's a bit more formal, it's a bit clearer, I would say. So try to get used to that. Rather than saying work online, I'm going to say virtual collaboration, because working online does not necessarily imply that you are coordinating or collaborating with anyone else. Most people who work now work online, they'll use the internet at some point. And if you're working on a supermarket checkout, you're still working online to a degree because you had access to an online platform. Why is this important? So as I said, especially in remote work, mastering precise terms, among them this term, is very important for setting expectations and coordinating and for productivity. Asynchronous communication, we saw it briefly in the previous tutorial. That is communication that does not occur in real time. A message is sent and then the response comes later, allowing flexibility in timing, so it's not really intended to be instantaneous. Most common examples would be emails, shared documents, recorded updates, where participants view and contribute at their convenience. The opposite would be synchronous communication, so happening live in real time, video calls, instant messengers, that generally require participants to present and to be present and to respond simultaneously or almost simultaneously. Teams that share project updates asynchronously means everyone can contribute in their own time zone, increases productivity and inclusivity. You might often hear the abbreviation async. That's a formal and informal abbreviation used in tech and businesses to refer to asynchronous communication. Accountability. We've seen accountability before in the course, but has a specific meaning when it comes to virtual collaboration. So accountability in general is taking responsibility for your own tasks and results, ensuring you follow through on commitments. Common collocations around accountability are personal accountability, shared accountability, accountability framework, accountability culture. For example, accountability builds trust in virtual teams. Each department has accountability for their own deliverables. Remember, deliverables are the things that we're expected to achieve or complete or do. We often associate the verbs take, demonstrate, and build with accountability. Accountability clarifies roles and expectations, promotes reliability, and strengthens team trust, especially in remote work. So there should always be accountability in any team, but it's incredibly important in remote work where there's not physical oversight and supervision. Time zones, you guys probably know what time zones are. Geographic areas divided by standard times to coordinate clocks within regions. Very important when your remote team spans multiple time zones. Can cause challenges in scheduling, especially for synchronous communication. Common collocations around time zones, across time zones, time zone overlap, respecting time zones. For example, we try to schedule a meeting during time zone overlap hours. That is to say, when everyone's online, when everyone's working. Really, really important when you are coordinating times with teams across different time zones. Very, very important that you specify the time zone you're referring to. So for example, the meeting will be at 10 a.m. CAT/9 a.m. UK time, which is the same time, right? CAT is always an hour ahead of the UK. Be also aware that the time in the UK is not always necessarily GMT. It's only GMT for half the year, which is something I learned only fairly recently. So UK time or London time is not synonymous with GMT. They can be different. So putting this all together, virtual collaboration often happens asynchronously, enabling team members in different time zones to contribute without needing simultaneous presence. Asynchronous communication allows updates and tasks to be shared flexibly, respecting varied working hours and increasing productivity. Accountability in virtual teams is maintained by setting clear expectations and regularly posting updates to track progress. Time zones impact scheduling and communication, requiring teams to plan carefully to ensure everyone stays informed and connected. For example, to ensure accountability in our virtual collaboration, we post asynchronous updates in Slack. So typically that would be when you've finished a particular task, you would post in the chat, finished or done or ready to move forward, or some kind of code that everyone understands, so that your progress or contribution can be tracked in real time. Some useful functional phrases around this topic. Let's work asynchronously on this report, so we understand that we're doing it by email or by shared document. We need to establish accountability for each deliverable. So who's in charge and where are they and what's the time, the deadline, let's say. Please note the time zone difference before scheduling. That's a very common one for scheduling meetings and appointments. Virtual collaboration works best when everyone contributes updates. That is true. Otherwise, there's radio silence and you might not be sure who's doing what. Record yourself saying these sentences to practice pronunciation and fluency. So try and do it the way I've been doing it. Let's work asynchronously on this report. We need to establish accountability for each deliverable. Please note the time zone difference before scheduling. Virtual collaboration works best when everyone contributes updates. Some common misunderstandings and clarifications. So you might hear the phrase, I have heard the phrase, let's have an asynchronous meeting. Asynchronous meetings can't exist. A meeting can be asynchronous. A meeting is by definition synchronous. Everyone should be online all day. All day for who? Right? There are different time zones in the world. So what? Everyone in your company may be working 9 to 5, but if you have a global company, then that 9 to 5 is not the same for everyone. So what do you mean by all day? I'll take accountability of this. I take accountability for this. That's the collocation. Accountability for, not of. Summing it up, virtual collaboration enables seamless teamwork across locations using digital tools and platforms. Asynchronous communication requires clear expectations to manage delays and ensure ongoing progress. Accountability in remote teams depends on transparent roles, deadlines, and mutual trust and updates. Time zones add complexity but can be managed with thoughtful scheduling and communication. Finally, for you guys to think about, reflecting how these concepts apply to your remote team, if you're in one, to improve collaboration and productivity. Thanks very much, guys. I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye.